Hey, microphone is working. Sometimes it doesn't pick up my voice. This is Automat Live Coding. This is a coding stream where we code in C++. And what do we code? We code a game automation utility called Automat. This is Automat. The main feature of Automat is its ability to compose objects that you have in this toolbar on this shelf on the bottom. And the objects, they are meant to play games. So we have macro recorder. Macro recorder is the primary object you will use for game automation. I just deleted the mouse press because I don't want it to press any keys. Now I have a macro which, when I play, it will move my mouse in a funny shape. And I can script it. Maybe scripting is the wrong word. I can build machines that use this macro. For instance, a hotkey whenever I press F1. Is it F1? Okay. I was changing some things. Some rendering paths may be slightly buggy right now, but they will get fixed. So now when I press F1, the macro plays. See, my hands are here. So this is a very simple, very fast way of building macros. And Automat is capable of running in system tray. So I can minimize it. You can see there is a tray icon at the top of my screen. And then you can forget about it. The macros and everything still works. Now, recently, I have been working on integrating a Wayland compositor into Automat. And the thing is that a lot of the times it actually helps to have to run some extra programs as part of your macro. So for this, we have a new command object. This command object is it's drawn in a different style. This style is called beta style. It's a completely different visual language from the rest of Automat, and it's meant to convey the quality and polish you can expect from those objects. So they do not always work. Sometimes they do not even make much sense. But this way I can iterate on objects much more quickly. I can test some stuff without polishing them super well, without having, high quality textures and everything. And the style, it doesn't look that bad, it's still usable. Oh, I crashed it. Anyway, so one feature that comes naturally with this ability to run commands is the ability to display their windows. And on Linux, there are a couple ways of achieving that. One way we could proceed would be to have a proper terminal within the Automat, so that I can start a command, and that command will appear, and we will basically have a built-in terminal within Automat that can display any command. And that makes sense. Automat should have a built-in terminal. But building a terminal is a lot of work, and terminals they have a lot of conventions, everything. So instead of doing that, I went an ironically easier way of integrating a Wayland compositor into Automat. So within Automat you can start a proper terminal now. So it will show you a window. You can interact with this window. And I think Automat doesn't yet support all of the protocols necessary for to displaying just any window. Just a few simple apps work right now, like this terminal emulator. I was trying Emacs recently. Emacs still needs some features to start working. Anyway, so this is what I am developing right now, because it would be pretty cool if I can move away from GNOME. GNOME is kind of annoying. And move Automat development into Automat. So that's the plan. To have a proper desktop environment within Automat. It's much... I would say it's much more polished than... It could be much more polished than GNOME if I, like even window borders. I mean, compare GNOME window borders, those simple gradients and free buttons, with Automat window management, where I can, grab a window and drop it into a black hole. And yeah, now I stopped the app. And I can restart it. So I would very much prefer to work in this environment than in GNOME, where I have to use keyboard for everything. I cannot cache, simple commands as small objects that I can rerun easily. I think it would be much nicer if I can turn Automat into a desktop environment, essentially. So this is what I'm doing right now. So, honestly, I'm pretty tired after a weekend of coding, so I will probably not do much streaming today, but I will try to go over the stuff that happened over the weekend, because I've done a couple new cool features. I'm still working on improving the Wayland thingy. If you took a careful look, I don't know if you can see this, there is a line at the bottom of the screen that says first DMA buff frame, blah blah blah, there's some resolution, DRM format modifier or something. This line here, it indicates that, here we can see my stochastic parrot testing some solutions. So this demonstrates that the connection between Kitty and Automat lives on the GPU and never leaves the GPU. It exists on the GPU, we never take the bitmaps outside of the GPU. So Kitty renders its own surface to a GPU texture, and we use this texture on the GPU to composite Automat window and display it on screen. So there is no CPU involved. I mean, CPU just handles file descriptors, so there is still some work there, but it's relatively cheap compared to, copying windows. So this is super nice. This is the latest development. Before that, maybe let's go in chronological order. I started by fixing the Leptonica shelf. The shelf had 3 deficiencies. First of all, it was looking awful, it was black. Now it has a nice professional gradient. It was called D-Leptonica, now it's just Leptonica, and the label here said slop. Now we are not using the slop terminology, because I don't think many people are really familiar with it. I think beta is a much better word, because beta indicates quality. Beta indicates poor quality. So this is how we are calling things now. The beta objects are, if you look at them, they are wonky, and I tweaked them so each of them is wonky in a slightly different way. So there is some variability between them, even the same type of object. They are also kind of stable in how they are different. Yeah, also those run buttons, they were absolutely awful. They are much better now. They fit more consistently with the rest of the system, and they have a better hover feedback now. So there are some places in the UI, like this command in particular, where you can see there is this kill here, exit status, in the command button, and they look the same. So I wanted them to look differently. So now the run button has this gloss, and this exit pill has no gloss. This is the difference between them, essentially. Yeah, I think to keep this style consistent, this is probably as much as we can do. I could try maybe different stroke colors, but they would probably stand out too much. Yeah. There have been some fixes in how we track hover state. So when I have an objects which are hovered, and my mouse leaves the window, they now dehover properly. So a small glitch was fixed here. I really like the solution here, because inside the Automat kind of memory, there is this object called pointer. So now, when the pointer leaves the window, we literally take this pointer and move it out to a second variable called pointer away. Mouse away? Mouse away. Yeah, so this is what happens when we get a leave notification now. I think it's kind of cute that the object model copies what's happening, with the mouse. The semantics, the computational model really imitates the semantics, but it solves a lot of issues, because if there are some handlers or objects attached to mouse, we do not want to detach them. We do not want to destroy the mouse. We want to keep them stashed away till the mouse returns and then, continue. So it's actually pretty nice.
Meister Chica says,
Hello.
Hey. Another big improvement is that the Wayland layer, for each Wayland client that connected, it spawned a new thread, which was basically parking itself. It was blocking and waiting until the child, the process which is running, finishes. And threads on Linux are kind of expensive, so I switched them to an EPOL. So now we have an EPOL object that multiplexes all of the Wayland communication and the PID signals from children which are exiting. So we are doing that. Some more cleanups. The EPOL was actually improved a little bit, because I use this EPOL in Gatekeeper. Gatekeeper is another project that I'm doing, which is routing software. It was, so this is the old view of this EPOL. It used some globals, and worst of all, it used thread locals. Thread locals they seem like super nice thing for performance, but at the lowest level, they are like the hairiest thing in linkers. Probably thread locals are why binary formats stopped evolving, because everything that has to be added to ELF or to portable executables now has to be compatible with thread locals, and the way they have been implemented is just so bad that it's just impossible to add new features, I guess. There is a lot of linker work now. Linkers are simple, except when it comes to thread local management. And then they are the most complex piece of machinery involved in running a software. They have to maintain some linked lists of mutexes, crazy stuff that has to happen for thread locals to work and to be efficient, which they are usually they are efficient at runtime once you construct, once you link everything together. But linking itself, oh. So, reference, this is how EPOL looks nice. It's called MOOCs EPOL, because there are other MOOCs algorithms than EPOL. So we have a nice namespace for them, finally. And EPOL is just a single object that creates a single FD for its own EPOLing thingy. And here you can register your own listeners. Each listener has to inherit from this base class. That was actually the same as before, but notice there are no thread locales anymore. You can spawn as many EPOL objects as you want, and they will work nicely together. It's mutex to protect them. And we even have some. This is actually not very pretty, but anyway. We have a native API so that it's possible to post events onto an EPOL loop from outside of the EPOL thread. It's kind of like Automat loop. Automat. It's kind of like Android Looper. On Android, this class called Looper, and this EPOL, it works in a very similar way. It multiplexes multiple file descriptor operations, and it allows you to post work here.
I came to the throw for you, the point of Bitburner. Single hack CA, ONIC hack levels, but no way to automate hacking itself.
What do you mean, no point? No way to automate hacking itself? Yeah. I will get back to this in a second. Tell me more. I will answer after I go through the Automat updates. So what did we have here? I do not remember because there was so much done over the weekend. Oh yeah, now we have a proper Wayland server class. Like initially those were just globals. Remove some silly code. What was the silly code? Oh yeah, like unnecessary variables. Okay, this is another big change that happened in Automat. For the last 3 years, we used .hh and .cc extensions for C++ sources. Not anymore. I do not even remember why I decided to do this. I do not remember, honestly. It was so long ago. And I finally got ready. I kind of accepted the fact that it just didn't make sense and switched back to HPP and CPP so that the code base looks normal and more familiar to anybody who looks at it. And this change affected all of the files in Automat. Pretty much. Then we had some segmentation faults which were causing random crashes. We still have some random crashes related to keyboard carets, but one less.
I don't have access to the NS4 API. I knew why. You were working at Google at the time.
Is Google using CC or I do not remember. Give me a sec.
Google is heavy on CC.
Ha! Yes, Google internally uses CC.
My company is heavy on CXX.
Yeah, CXX is also nice. CPP reminds me, this is the most boring extension for C++. This is the most, it feels like 90s. It kind of gives you this, when you look at the code base, it's kind of like looking at a car. You know, when you look at a car, you immediately tell what decade it was made in. There's a distinct look for cars made in 2010s, 2000s, 90s, 80s, and so on. They have something about the decade they came from. Then I would say CPP is the extension of the 90s and 2000s. And CXX is it feels to me like the modern one, like after 2010. This is probably when projects started using CXX more. Yeah, what is the reason? I'm sure there is a reason. No. Google doesn't work like that. There's no preference. There is no personal preference within Google. Like, whenever there is a question of a personal preference, you are, as a Google engineer, you are required to write a document which lists all of the options and lays out the pros and cons, and there must be pros and cons. You cannot say, it doesn't matter. You must say what are pros and cons of different options. And probably somebody made this document and decided CC is shorter by 1 character, and besides that, there is no difference between them. So this is probably why Google ended up with CC.
It's style. I have grudge against people using H for header files containing non-C compatible code.
Oh yeah, true. Oh, and I have my Parrot working for me. I really need to use the limits. I have 18 hours to use the rest of my limits, so I need to put it to work. So give me a second. You can see what I'm doing.
Ultra code incoming.
It's on max. It's permanently on max. And ultra code is actually a trap. Ultra code is actually using less tokens than max. It's more token efficient than max. Because in max, you are forcing your own model to do more work. And in this hypercoding, it spawns more smaller haiku models, do exploration and so on. And they use less quota. I want to bury my quota, that's the point. How much time do I have? 43 minutes, oh crap. Wonderful.
Excuse moi. Anthropic is not min-maxing output tokens. Is that why they are profitable in Q1 and Q2?
They are. It's just they are not maximizing if you are paying subscription. If you are paying subscription, it's a fixed cost for me. It's variable cost for them. So they are trying to trick me into using the least tokens possible. If you're on API billing, yeah, they will absolutely burn your budget. Okay. Stop this, recompile it. This is cleaner. It seems cleaner. And it still works, I think. I could even run Automat from within Automat now.
Anyways, open code Go still exists. I can even hit finance share limit while using GMM5 on max reasoning.
Yeah, that's my kind of objective right now, to hit those quotas. Because if I hit them now, then for the rest week I can hit them again. I basically get 2 weeks. I changed my strategy right now. I want to use my quota ASAP, like in a single day, all of it, all of the weekly quota instantly, because Anthropic, they keep messing up with their systems, and they are giving those extra quota resets for free, basically, because they have some issues with quota counting. Or they had this Fable model that was retracted recently. It was nice, like rip Fable. I really liked Fable. But it was retracted, so they refunded weekly quota to everybody. So I hope similar things will keep happening. I'm burning my quota ASAP now. Yeah, the Wayland compositing seems to work smoothly. I had some notes from my review. Okay, this was implemented. Oh, Tisan is going to be amazing.
I have to wait 5 more minutes for my codex usage to reset .ol. On Friday, I spawned like 5 agents to try to make game work in GPUE, says UI library.
Oh, interesting. Interesting. I would love to take a look at this GPUI UI. Okay. So, Parrot is doing his job. Let's continue going through the changes. That was a big one. The beta design system, this design system, it used pixels initially, the one which draws all of the objects. So migrating from pixels to metric system, Automat uses metric system for its display. It's more, I think it's more humane to count stuff in human space units. And it simplifies HDPI a lot. Like, HDPI in Automat is, it's trivial. It's just, I can basically send information about the current scale level to the Wayland client, and it will keep re-rendering itself at the correct scale. So even when I zoom in like that, it's not implemented, but it will be easy, once I get to this.
Wth is feet.
That would be amazing to have a UI library to measure UI, like window size, in feet. Oh. A lot of consistency updates throughout the code so that we use our own wrappers. Oh, and I added a new container type to Automat, PLF colony. It's very cool. It's used in a lot of places throughout Automat. Basically, whenever we have a bunch of objects that need to have their pointers at stable positions in memory, the objects can go away, like come and go all the time. And for those, we now have this colony system. And yeah, it's wonderful. It works. It actually not only made the code faster, like the speed doesn't matter here really. It was just a couple, simple array lookups. But it simplified the code because we do not have to do those array scans when we have to delete those objects. Colony has a constant time deletion, so it's super fast. Yeah, very cool change, and a big one. It's crazy, how much stuff happened over this weekend. And that probably also explains why I am so tired. Automat has a pre-commit check now that enforces the syntax of the top 3 lines. So now you have to put SPDX copyright information and pragma inside headers. And there is a small Python script that will ensure you do not forget it. Even I think this Python script must adhere to it.
I don't know about you, but my monitors are 1.25 feet high.
Every feet is different. You could have, a 10-feet monitor if you're a baby. Okay, that was a big one. So there was an issue in Automat when you were dragging an object around, it was doing rather complex shape queries for all of the objects on screen. And those shapes, they are not heavy to compute, but because the amount of objects was large and those were all allocated, deallocated, and they probably went through some conversions along the way, like path operations. It was a lot of compute just for dragging an object. And the fix is very simple. We just walk and ask for shape only the objects which can function as drop targets. Super simple.
My monitor's 1 monitor high.
That's a natural unit for the monitor size. It's like speed of light for monitors. How many monitor heights is your monitor tall? And this one is cool. I will actually switch to another commit. So in different objects in Automat, we had this tick API.
You can't question it.
For example, this one. Anyway, I will not find a good example, but the animation API in Automat uses a slightly different model now, where animation functions, instead of returning animation phase, which was just 1 or 0, it was 1 when it was keep animating, and it was 0 when it meant finish animation. Now, it returns an object called talk. So tick function returns talk object, and this talk object, it encodes two different decisions.
Also, my table is 1 table width wide and 1 table length long, and 1 table height high.
Yeah, that would, I guess, avoid all of those unit issues that space, like I think Apollo program had, when, or some space probe had when it exploded.
Yours is also, I'm assuming?
It depends which table. I think it could be slightly smaller in your table units. Okay, so we have this cool talk object. I mean, the design of this struct, I really like it. So we have first two hacks. Those are absolute C++ exploits. So within this talk object, we have a no unique address subobject, which has 0 size. It's empty. And this no unique address means that it's kind of shifted to the start of the object, so the address of this drawing proxy is the same as address of talk. So by accessing this field, we can provide more operators to the talk object. So essentially, talk object offers two sets of this pipe operator. So the way that you use it is that you use talk.drawing and then you OR something here, and this alters how the rendering will work. And this operator structure, it exploits a new type that also animation now provides, because animation types.
Megaburger says,
Italian?
No, not really, but close. And I was in Italy earlier this year, last year. Anyway. So our animation now returns a new type called progress. This is all part of this new update. And progress encodes two bits of information about the animation frame, whether the animation changed something and whether it finished. Those are now two different bits, because it's possible that basically all combinations are possible. If the animation has finished and you call it again, it will return false in both. I mean, it will return false here and through here. So all combinations are present and all are now represented properly, and we can use this information to drive the widget animation. So when we have fancy animations like this one for the buttons, the animation code, which drives like all of the animation, like eyes of the parrot, they can signal when they finished to the widget layer, so the widget layer can properly cache widgets as textures and basically stop GPU GPU loop, and that the UI can go to sleep properly.
I thought your accent was Italian. At least it sounded like it.
Meister Chica says,
We need you for partially sized types from Zig to CPI.
Partially sized types? How partially? Like in bits? That sounds so cool. Okay, so now we have this new TikTok, and I really like how the API reads now. But I will keep improving it. So we will have tick, talk, and the argument is not going to be timer. I'm going to rename it to clock. So we'll have tick, tock, clock. and this is going to be the animation API in Automat.
Megaburger says,
Assembly.
Meister Chica says,
Zig has native support for 1 U2, U3, U4, U5, U6, U7, and signed variants also.
Yeah, so nice. So technically, you can also use them in C++, but the type cannot encode its bit width. You have to use this colon syntax for this, which is very strange. Like, it's nice that Zig fixes it. I mean, we do have assembly in Automat. So this is Automat's assembler. I think I just flipped, yes, this register. Or maybe I can write a loop. See, Automat is concurrent. We can have a Wayland Compositor running in parallel with a machine code, basically loop. It does whatever this is. Oh yeah, and the last change I did was to improve some visual glitches in the outline of the text. Small thing, very small thing, doesn't matter. I think the outline here should be thicker. Grab this. Yeah, I think it should be twice as thick. Anyway, and now the most recent change, which is this DMA buffer exchange, where Automat can finally start Kitty and not read its pixels, but instead ask for a texture. So Kitty every frame sends us a few file descriptors. And those file descriptors identify a new texture that we then display on screen. The one thing which is strange to me is that it seems like we are kind of consuming this texture. So we are grabbing it, showing it, and throwing it away. So this is just part of Wayland, apparently. Wayland apparently works like that. It does not reuse textures. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there is a way to reuse textures. I will have to investigate more. But for now, yeah, Wayland feels weird. It's in some ways cleaner than X. In some ways, it's worse. Anyway, I will review this properly off stream. There's a lot of actually, a lot of those changes seem simple. Yeah, I think this should not be called import recorder, but I will rename this manually. Oh, maybe not. This should be called actually, import is not such a bad name. Change of plans. Captain Chica, tell me about your approach to hacking in BitBurner. How does it work? Show me your scripts. Show me your code. Hacking is the most automatable thing in this game. Automate. it's very nice that on the side dedicated to, this is GPU IRS, okay, so this is introduction to this library, okay, makes sense. I'm still waiting for a graphics library which will say that it's slow. It's chill, it doesn't care about speed. Like casual graphics library. It cares about well-being, about psychological safety of programmers. Okay. Wow, it's very HTML-like. Div flags. This is just HTML. I feel like UI is kind of stuck in some kind of local maximum where every UI tries to be represented as three boxes. You know, boxes with borders, margin and padding, and then you have different layout algorithms. I mean, different. There's one layout algorithm. Basically, this one where boxes can push other boxes apart and wrap other boxes tightly, and every UI in the world tries to basically fit in this rubber band structure of boxes. Rubber band because, you know, you have this wrapping of boxes that squeeze other ones and they share, available space between them.
Oh, where did Pastas? Dev link disappear?
Oh, give me a sec, maybe... I started using the moderation queue, so now I see any links which are deleted by Twitch. But the API looks nice. The API is very cool. It's probably better than HTML for, specifying trees of elements. You probably have some classes equivalent or something like that.
URL.
Okay. Oh, I had no idea you can do this. This is cool. You can also do... I'm not sure if you know that. I do this for most of my scripts while I develop them. I see. I see. So, first problem. There are a lot of servers in this game. And the script needs a way to search for those servers and pick a server to hack. And this thing, finding and picking a server to hack, this, unfortunately, it cannot be distributed. It has to happen on a single machine because hack interacts with other hacks. when you do hack, you then have to grow. You have to do this. Yeah, I guess this one. This looks. After hacking, you need to weaken, then grow, then weaken, something like that. So. And what you're doing here when you do so you are calculating the number of threads. This looks cool, but oh yeah, you have hack time and weekend time. So this is fine. Executing those things locally is just, it's going to hit the limit of your machine. Cloud server, so on cloud servers, hacked servers, because they have some spare RAM, you can run scripts there, and darknet servers. I mean, there are better uses for darknet servers, so maybe not darknet servers. I just noticed one thing about your usage of time. Once you have this time, okay, let's see what's happening here. So you're running batches, which is amount of your free RAM, okay. And this will slightly change if you use a pool of workers. If you have a pool of workers that will do hacking, you will be able to basically start jobs until your worker pool fills up. So you'll have something like this, but you will have a limit of your kind of botnet, let's say botnet RAM, or like maximum number of jobs that your botnet can execute. And rather than computing it up front, it could be better to compute it after starting some threads. This way you can start variable-sized jobs, because sometimes this hack we can grow, they are all the same size, but there is this reminder of RAM, on different machines. I just think that this is slightly more flexible.
I have 25 cloud servers with 1 PB of RAM currently, Dairodachi.
That is insane, yeah. Yeah, if you treat those cloud servers as, workers where you just execute hack, this hack we can grow, and you have a central coordinator that picks the most valuable target, let me see how this offset looks. Gap is gap 80. This is milliseconds. Nice. There is something suspicious to me about this fixed size gap. Yeah, but there are probably many different ways of doing this. Yeah, the basic idea holds. The important thing is that the spacing between subsequent jobs is, measured in milliseconds. This is what makes it insane. I use much larger gap, by the way. I use something like 200 milliseconds. But maybe I will lower my scripts to 80. I will see if they still work. Give me a sec.
I think gap should be time needed to execute slowest of any of 4 hack scripts.
Margin. Oh no, I'm using maybe delay T. No, I'm using 50 milliseconds. Maybe I can remove some of the limitations from here. Yeah. I'm actually using 50 milliseconds. So even lower than you. But it is just as good. Maybe not just. It's like 50% slower. Changing the server to hack. This is a big one. This is kind of hard to tell which one is the best, because some servers will give you lots of money, but they will take a long time to hack, and you will have a lot of scripts kind of waiting for their hacking turn. So yeah, this picking the best server is tricky. It really needs this model to be. It really needs to match this model of execution. And I actually do not know specifically how this model works. Maybe it's actually more efficient than I'm not sure. Oh, you have a wait here. Interesting. If you have await here, then you can probably... This effectively changes your gap. It increases it by some number of milliseconds.
Mine is just conventional shotgun algo.
I heard this term, but I do not know specifically what shotgun means. It works in a continuous fashion. It fires a bunch of jobs, then waits until they... Does it wait until they finish? Probably not, because when it waits this amount of time, I think the jobs from the last iteration will still keep running.
Compute max amount jobs that can be spawned and spawn them all of them at once.
Yeah. You know, if this is how it works, then you can put like 200 here, because as the hacking jobs finish, you will just spawn them, keep spawning them, on top of the previous ones. It's just important to keep this offset well defined. So offset, I do not know what offset specifically means. So what I keep around is I keep a point in time where I know that the server that I'm hacking is going to be ready for the next job. And then I schedule the next job to finish exactly at this point.
Technically, I could sleep for one S at the end.
Yeah. Because the shotgun will just, it will grab the free RAM and it will reuse it. Yeah. This is probably using very little RAM, your script. But it's still possible to optimize it if you have a central server that sends those jobs to, other servers that you can run jobs on.
Now it's just Makinagun.
Yeah. There's this one mechanic which I never used, and it must be here for a reason, where you have cores on your PC, and those cores, they increase the effect of, they make grow and weaken shorter, I think. Yeah. But only on your home machine. Never used it. I never used it. The difference is so tiny. So if you're hacking something, it actually makes, theoretically, it makes more sense to do grow and weaken from your home and hack from some other machines, which are always one core. It's just a strange complication of code. Yeah, and the model is using my quota.
Noted.
It's in 3 minutes. I'm still at 50%.
All servers are upgradable in my game.
Interesting. Is there a mod for this? I know that cloud servers can be upgraded.
Not implemented die. But there are those other servers which are, around your home. This map, basically, you can compute this map, at the start of the game. You can scan the whole internet. You should really print this in a nicer way. Like a tree. Anyway, it would be interesting if those servers become upgradable. They are still not going to survive the augment instance anyway, but interesting. You know you can execute arbitrary React code in Bitburner.
Yeah. I even do this in some places. Not here, I think planner. It's a very simple progress bar. This is cool. I'm not a true React hacker. I do not know how to abuse this, but I know this is just amazing. It allows you to create whatever UI you can basically dream up.
You now that you can create custom UI widgets.
Yeah. Very nice. Parrot keeps burning tokens. So realistically, in 17 hours, I can burn at most 40% of my quota, because quota resets every 5 hours. I will not hit 100. I will try. I think I should prepare some quota burning prompts. Basically, I have some free quota. It's going to reset, and I need to run something. Something like stable mode. Okay, and that was the first prompt. Random to do. Another prompt. You see, on this VM that it runs on, do we have any games? I could tell it to play some game using Automat. You know, in a loop. I will tell the AI to start Automat and try to build a machine that will play a game. I need to install some games. This is doable. This is doable. we can see our stochastic parrot. It's running Automat under Tisan, and we cannot see much, unfortunately. Yeah, I do not want to mess it. Those are good prompts. I think they could also encourage the AI to spawn subagents. Maybe it will use them automatically. Random Wayland protocol. Why not? Why not? Let's ask AI to identify a random Wayland protocol which is not yet implemented in Automat, but could be implemented in Automat. Uh, And this suffix will go into all of the prompts. There is a nice website with and protocols. This one. Okay. I think I need to commit this fast because the AI is about to finish the work. And this job here was done very well. So commit. Maybe I will amend it a little bit. I see the comments have been updated properly. A new file. It's ugly. I think it should use, by the way, FDs for this. This looks super nice. I mean, there is no change, it just reduced the nesting level, but I like this structure a lot. Ooh. Compositor is doing more work. Good. I was thinking about the name for this variable. Import is good. Because why? Because it's also going to be used by the X server. Because X server also has the ability to exchange textures with its clients. Makes sense. or I'm actually not commenting why I'm adding those extensions, but maybe this is a good pattern actually here. Maybe I could even... Yeah, I was thinking about moving this into a function. Wayland Compositor is the one which is doing all the work. This DMA buff, I think it can be removed. This struct. Yeah, I think this import DMA buff. Or maybe no. Or maybe it should stay here. Yeah, there is a lot of Vulkan. Not so pretty Vulkan code here. Okay, this comment is wrong. Yeah, pretty much. Maybe also have a change here. This seems to be not super related, but right, it's okay. We can do the locking, it's fine. Agent did a little bit of mess. Now this is good. This is good. It just caught an error. Let's. I will just change the comment. What? Ah. This is a very fun error that sometimes happens where I run compilation. It uses so much memory that Linux kills my emulator. If things still work. I need to restart the emulator now. So this will amend the previous one. It's basically the same as fast. Is identical. Okay, I can delete it. This is an old comment. Let me see if I can run T-Sun variant. Maybe it was fixed. Will take a minute. It will take a second. Okay. Yeah, I was not going to code much today. Oh yeah, I guess I will end the stream here. It's a short stream today, but yeah. Things are progressing fast. I will just keep doing progress updates and continue of cranking out new Wayland protocols until we can actually move Automat development to Automat. Alright. See you in 2 weeks, I guess, if nothing comes up for me. Anyway, see you around. Bye bye.